Hey guys, welcome back to Container Crops. I'm the Scaredy Cat Gardener. I'm going to start a mini series, gardening lessons. Today's I'm going to start off with 3 lessons that I've learned in 2020. I think it's quite appropriate to talk about the things I've learned from 2020. First of all, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. But before we do, go ahead, if you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and tap that bell if you want to learn how to grow all kinds of fruits and vegetables in containers. Subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. Okay, guys, the first thing I want to say is to grow according to where you live. Guys, I'm going to go out here on a limb, probably a short limb, could be a long limb, but I'm gonna go out here on a limb right quick, and I'm going to assume that if you are watching this video, you have some sort of access to the internet. Therefore, if you're not quite familiar with where you live in regards to the zone that you live in, you might want to Google that and find out. I have had numerous comments, numerous questions over time about, oh, how did you get that to work? Or how did you do this? And how did you do that? Let me just say this. I cannot grow what probably will grow fantabulous in the rainforest. I may even have a hard time growing something where I live, which is, by the way, Zone B, North Carolina, that someone's having wonderful and an ease at growing in California. And I do want to say, if you do ask me about how did you get that to grow, there are some common things for common vegetables and fruits that pretty much go across the board if you do it, like you don't overwater or you do this or you do. There are always common denominators that no matter where you live will probably work. But please, people, don't get mad at me if I have success and I grew something fabulous and you couldn't get it to grow. Don't get mad at me. Check your zone. Find out what grows best where you live. Then figure out what you like to grow and research it. It's at the tip of your fingers, people. It's at the tip of your fingers. I could write a book about that. The next thing I want to say, people, is feed your plants. Now, we don't live off of water alone. No matter how good the water is, if it's alkaline water or if it's fresh rainwater, whatever you might be drinking. We need our vitamins, our minerals, our supplements. We need our vitamin C, our vitamin A, our vitamin D. We need our protein. Our plants need the same thing. They need nourishment. You have to find out whatever your plant is that you're growing or plants and feed it. I've had people say, well, I watered the plant. Did you do anything else? Did you fertilize the plant? Did you do anything else? Did you make sure the soil had the right pH? Did you check anything else? You just stuck something in the ground and water. Now, granted, I'm guilty. How do you think I'm? Oh, hello, lessons that we learn. Let me tell you something. The first year I started gardening, that particular year, for where I live, it was in the low 100s, high 90s every single day. And every time I went out to garden, I was hot as heck. I didn't even have to do nothing. I started sweating. And I'm like, it's hot out here. And I thought, If I'm hot, oh snap, my plants gotta be hot. Let me give my plants some water. So now I checked on my plants every single morning. Sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening, but morning was my time. I typically walk in the morning, so when I came off my walk, I came in the house, I changed from my walking shoes to my yard working shoes, and I went out there, and guess what I did? I watered. And not only did I water them, by the time I finished walking, not only was I was hot, tired, and thirsty. So now I'm thinking, if I'm hot, tired, and thirsty, my plant's hot, tired, and thirsty too. So I fed every last single plant I had 2 gallons of water every single day. So y'all probably know what kind of harvest I got that year. So the next year, I watered accordingly. The way I should have watered the first year. I'm just saying. Okay? But we really weren't talking about water. We were talking about feeding your plants. Find out what nutrition your plants need and give it to them. Okay? And the third lesson that I learned is all about carrots. All about carrots. I grew a ton of carrots, but they were all, y'all know, y'all seen them root vegetables come out. They all looking like this and child, let me tell you. But even though they were all like this, those carrots were good. Now, I personally don't necessarily like to eat carrots, but what I do love is carrot juice. So I need an abundance of carrots because I can drink carrot juice every day. I love carrot juice. And those carrots were sweet and tasty. And oh my goodness. Don't get me started on that. That's a whole nother video. But at any rate, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you have loose, rich soil. The carrot needs to be able to go down and get through the soil. Okay? So if you have all this compacted soil, rocks in there and all kinds of stuff, it can't get through. So because it's growing, it's going to take whatever route it can take. And if that's going around another carrot or something, that's what it's going to do. You can add sand to your soil if you need to, because sand will keep your soil from becoming compacted. And as long as that soil is not compacted, you'll give those carrots room to grow. You'll give them the room. Another thing that you want to make sure is when you're feeding it that you don't have too much nitrogen. You're not feeding it too much nitrogen in your fertilizer. You know how the carrots have the pretty green, bushy, I want to call them tails, but they're not tails. You know, the green foliage that the carrots have. Well, it's not about the foliage, although it's edible. I did a video on that, by the way. Although the foliage is edible, that's not the concentration. The concentration is the carrot. If you have too much nitrogen, then you're feeding the foliage, not the carrot. So check your nitrogen level. And then a third tip, it's really important. Please space your carrot seeds. If you're starting with seeds, please space your carrot seeds accordingly. They should be at least 2 inches apart. At least 2 inches apart. That's going to allow them, when they start growing, not to bump into the other one over here. If your soil is nice and loose, it's going to go straight down. Okay? It's going to go straight down. Now I'm going to give you one more tip for carrots. You want to water them intermittently. And when I say that, don't go out, first of all, don't nobody go out there and water like I did the first year. That's a no-no. I don't care what you're growing, when you're growing, where you're growing, how you're growing, what you're doing. Come on now. Don't do that. That's a no-no. You want to water intermittently. In other words, wait until the soil is good and dry before you water again. What you want your carrots to do is chase for the water. When they chase for the water, they're going down. They're like, we don't have no water. We don't have anything. So they're going to go down because your soil is draining from the water. You want to water it nice and heavily. Let it dry out after that. And as it dries out, those carrots need that water, but the water is draining down. So they're going to go down looking for the water. And if you have that nice, loose, rich soil, they're going to go down straight. Okay? All right, guys. Those are my lessons. Part 1, garden lessons learned from the Scaredy Cat gardener. I forgot what I was. Let me just say, she crazy. Okay, yeah, maybe so. Anyway, I really do appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me today. Those are the lessons that I learned from last year. I've got more lessons that I've learned from last year. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I don't want to hold you guys too long. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Share the video out. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments. What lessons have you learned? All right, guys. And for those of you all who are subscribed to me, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I will see you on the trail.